Assalamualaikum and a very good morning everyone. My name is Karel Nakib Mekushaini. I'm joined by Ni Muhammad Adil, and today we'll be talking about a current issue, but more specifically poverty in South Sudan. We'll be going over the insights, factor, costs, actions, and solutions. So Adil, would you mind telling us about the insights of the situation?
South Sudan is a country that is burdened by a very deep-rooted poverty. They faces they faces numerous challenges in its quest for economic development and to improve the living condition. According to statistics, 80% of its population is living below the poverty line, and that is a lot. Okay, so despite the efforts that has been made by the government, by the people of South Sudan, poverty keeps on shackling the population, impacting their well-being, impacting the socio-economic. Like I just said, 80% of its population is living below the poverty line. This means that majority of the citizens of South Sudan cannot even access to the basic needs such as clean water, food, and healthcare.
Okay, now moving on to the key factor. Poverty in South Sudan can be attributed to a combination of political factors, conflicts and displacements, economic challenges, and social factors. These factors have contributed to the prevalence and impact of poverty in the country. By analyzing the factors contributing to poverty and taking actions through effective solutions and strategies, it is possible to make progress in reducing poverty and improving the lives of people in South Sudan.
More than 120,000 ethnic Nuers are now living inside this one barbed wire camp. UN peacekeepers protect them from their own government. Half of them are children like Isaac, who fled ethnic slaughter by government soldiers.
Thank you for giving me a chance to speak again. So let's talk about the factor that contributes to poverty in South Sudan. So firstly, political factor. Political factor, what I want to say, what I mean is that political instability, corruption, weak governance had a detrimental impact on the economic development in South Sudan. So uh, these things, this factor that has been happening exacerbate poverty and hindering progress. So firstly, political instability. South Sudan had a prolonged periods of political instability since gaining their independence in 2000, 2011, I think. Yes, internal conflicts and power struggles among political factions have disrupted the government. So these things led to violence, displaced large number of people, and create an environment that is not conducive to the economic development. So next is corruption. So corruption is also a significant challenge in South Sudan. Also, corruption have been a very huge problem in South Sudan. So mismanagement of public funds, bribery, and a lot more that has been divert resources that could be used to treat this poverty, this problem. So, according to statistic, South Sudan corruption index is 13. So, in the corruption index, 0 is the lowest, which is the worst, and 100 is the best, which is the highest. So, in the ranking, South Sudan apparently ranked third in the most corrupted country. So this says a lot about how corrupted South Sudan is.
Other than that, one of the causes of poverty in South Sudan is the ongoing conflicts and internal displacements. The country has experienced a long history of armed conflicts and civil wars, which has resulted in the displacement of millions of people. This conflict has disrupted agricultural activities, destroyed infrastructures, and led to the loss of many lives and livelihoods. And as a result, many people have been forced to flee from their homes, leaving behind their possessions and source of income. The displacement has created a strain on resources and has made it difficult for individuals and communities to meet their basic needs, pushing them into poverty.
I also agree with what you just said, 100% agree. So, next I want to shed some light in the economic challenges, the economic challenges they faces, which is also one of the factor that contributes to poverty in South Sudan. There are a lot of economic challenges South Sudan faces, including inflation. So, South Sudan has faced a persistently high inflation rate. So, this high inflation rate makes the purchasing power of the population lower. This means that a lot of a lot of things becomes expensive, and making making the overall standard of living lower. Apart from that, unemployment and limited job opportunities in South Sudan is also a factor that contributes to economic challenges they face. So, a lot of citizens of South Sudan practice agriculture and not formal employment, such as maybe engineer, doctor, or lawyer, etc.
I completely agree with what you just said. I think social factors is also one of the causes of poverty. For example, social inequalities, gender disparities, and limited access to basic services are significant social factors that contribute to the poverty in South Sudan. And these factors create barriers and disadvantage for certain groups within the population, perpetuating poverty and widening the gap between the rich and the poor. For example, social inequalities in South Sudan can be observed in various aspects, such as income, distribution, access to resources, and opportunities for social mobilities.
So thank you for giving your thought. Okay, next let's talk about the potential solution that can be done to solve this poverty issue in South Sudan. So first and foremost, political and governance reform. So first of all, what must be done is to promote the political stability and peace building efforts to address the to address the root cause of conflict. So, uh, apart from that, what can be done is for South Sudan to strengthen their institution and promote transparency to ensure that every corruption, every bribery that has been ongoing in the country to be solved.
Now, other than that, I think education and healthcare is also important. By improving the quality of education and equipping individuals with the right amount of skill and knowledge needed to escape poverty, we can end the cycle that way. By increasing investments in education, allocate sufficient resources to improve infrastructures, provide learning materials, and train teachers. Other than that, for healthcare services is essential for reducing poverty and improving overall well-being. By providing financial support, establish mechanisms to provide financial assistance or health insurance to vulnerable populations, ensuring that they can afford necessary healthcare.
In my humble opinion, apart from what Nakib just said, apart from what I just said, what can also be done by the government of South Sudan is to do economic diversification and development. So how to do this? First of all, is to diversify the economy beyond the oil, move on from oil and promote other sectors such as manufacturing, renewable energy, and tourism. Okay. So apart from that, the government can also encourage entrepreneurship and provide support for the small and home growth uh, enterprise to stimulate job and economic growth.
And lastly, I do think implementing a social safety net can be an effective solution to provide support and protection to vulnerable populations. For example, targeted assistance. By designing and implementing targeted programs that specifically address the needs of the most vulnerable individual and households. For example, cash transfer program. By providing a direct cash transfer to a household living in an extreme poverty, enabling them to meet their basic needs and invest in income generating activities. Or even food assistance programs by establishing food distribution programs to ensure access to nutritious foods for those who are most at risk of hunger and malnutrition. Or social pensions by introducing pension schemes for older adults who lack sufficient financial resources, ensuring a basic level of income security in their later years.
In conclusion, poverty remains a significant challenge in South Sudan. Political instability, armed conflicts, corruption, and weak governance are among the key factors that contributes to the poverty in the country. These factors hinder the development and limit access to the basic service. So, it is imperative that government, social society, international partner, and lastly, the South Sudanese people to work together to implement the solution that I just said. Okay. So this journey towards solving the poverty require a long-term commitment and collaborative efforts. So inclusive policies that can be implemented should be prioritized. Okay, so by addressing the root cause of poverty and implementing comprehensive strategy, South Sudan can lay the foundation for a very sustainable development so that the socio-economic progress can be done for the brighter future for its citizens. That's all from me. Thank you.